And I said, well, how did Big U tell him this? She says, well, they was down there to get their blood drawn and ran into each other. And Big U said, that's why I'm gonna put Money Mike's body on you, right? So now the things I do know, when I keep hearing, I'm about to get out, I'm finna get out, even though you getting multiple denials, right? Based upon pending cases and this, that, and potentially gonna pop up. And the conversation I know you had with victim one, who you in fact are in there for. Boom, like that. Look at what she's telling me. She threw me off when she asked what I testified.
Your face! Show your face, please, with sugar on top!
Alright y'all, now this is probably the most serious I think we've ever seen Wack100, and not only that, but in this sit down with Adam, he had a different demeanor to him. I can't tell you exactly what it was, but it was definitely something a little different to him in this sit-in. Now remember when we first did the video of Luce getting arrested, and we pointed out that Wack100's reaction to him getting arrested in something as serious as a RICO was very weird, because Wack seemed nonchalant, almost as if he didn't care. When he was asked about it, he went on to say that Luce is a grown man and he didn't make Luce do anything that he didn't want to do himself, after we seen him with our own two eyes instigating the Big U story on No Jumper. Well, come to find out, there's a reason he's sounding like that, and now it all makes sense. Well, I found out that Luce and Wack100 used to be beefing with each other when Luce was cool with Big U. Then when him and Big U got into it, he ended up getting cool with Wack100 to expose Big U. But the whole time, Wack was moving strategic with Luce Cannon and never forgot what Luce Cannon said about him. However, he baited Luce Cannon in, got him exactly where he needed him, and then boom, checkmate. Wack100 did a checkmate move by manipulating Luce Cannon into putting himself and Big U into a jail cell. Basically what he did was use Luce Cannon to get Big U out the way, which at the time got Luce Cannon out the way as well, because he unknowingly incriminated himself. And what makes matters worse, it wasn't just on the No Jumper podcast. Luce Cannon went on to start his own platform and would speak on a lot of incriminating things that he may or may not have done with Big U. Now, Wack is a big fan of the book 48 Laws of Power, and I must say, the way he uses the tactics expressed within that book is pretty impressive. I told y'all in the previous video covering this that the best form of manipulation is when the target doesn't even know they're being manipulated. And Luce Cannon didn't even realize he was being manipulated. He always said nobody can make him do anything, Wack can't make him do anything, etc. And a master manipulator will allow you to think that because you don't want no resistance with your manipulation. So when Luce was doing what he was doing, all Wack had to do was sit back, provide the platform, and let Luce do what he did. Now in the 48 Laws of Power, the second law says, quote, never put too much trust in friends. Learn how to use enemies. The third one says, quote, conceal your intentions. Now the 14th law says, quote, pose as a friend, work as a spy. And law 21 says, quote, play a sucker to catch a sucker, seem dumber than your mark. There's more laws that apply to the situation at hand with Wack100 and Luce Cannon, but those are the ones that stuck out the most. This is a prime example of keep your friends close, but your enemies even closer at its finest. Now when it comes to the snitch allegations, usually I'll tell y'all that Wack100 is bluffing, or he's just trying to troll for attention. But he came with receipts this time, and what he's saying is, it seemed like a clear indication that Luce is definitely trying to cooperate. Anyway, to watch the complete sit down with Adam, I'll leave a link pinned in the comments so y'all can check that out for yourselves. But in the meantime, make sure you hit that thumbs up button so we can get this video into the algorithm. And if you're not subscribed to the platform already, make sure you do so now. Let's get into it.
Him and Dale's talking. He trying to get Dale to say Big U told on him. Dale say, at the time, we don't know that Dale was victim, what Dale wired. We don't know.
Right.
And what's crazy, them phone calls, I'm pretty sure they got because Dale's on his phone. Luce say, Wack, get the content. I'm just listening. So they talking about the whole ordeal. So I'm like, I'm listening. Boom. March comes. This is when it's weird. If the feds pick you up in Los Angeles, they not gonna drive you to motherfucking San Diego to talk about a case.
Over 2 hours.
To talk about a case, 140 miles. To talk about a case that's obviously LA based. Why?
Yeah.
Because everybody that got picked up in March went to MDC LA. Mm-hmm. Nobody went to San Diego.
Right.
So now I'm sitting back and I'm saying, what? We couldn't find you nowhere in the system. I heard you on the phone with this dude talking freely about all kinds. And I'm thinking, now that we're looking at the paperwork, the police really got it.
Uh-huh.
They got everything, because what y'all was talking about on that phone is everything. And if Dale was still wired giving Big U federal extortion money, then his phone damn sure wired on wherever he's calling.
Now, for y'all that don't know what he's talking about, Dale was the guy that was allegedly getting extortion money for Big U and reporting back to Big U with the money. So he became an informant for them, right? Which is what led them to get Big U. But what Wack is saying, that Dale actually had a conversation, a very incriminating conversation about a crime that was committed with Luce Cannon. And he's saying, well, if he was a federal informant, 9 times out of 10, his phone was tapped. So basically they got Luce Cannon. It's nothing you can do because you're on audio talking to this informant about a crime freely on the phone. Right? So it is kind of tricky. Let's see what else he says.
Right? So now the things I do know, when I keep hearing I'm about to get out, I'm finna get out, even though you're getting multiple denials, right? Based upon pending cases and this, that, and potentially gonna pop up. And the conversation I know you had with victim 1, who you in fact are in there for. The depth you went in, the things you said about Big U, who you was, who you are, the Big U, on this man's phone to this man. There's no way, bro, that can happen.
Okay.
When we done, I'm gonna let you hear it. It's no way possible. But the call I got a week and a half ago about what motherfucker wanted, why they wanted it, you know, we gonna kick it off a little bit. I get a call from his significant other saying, he said Big U trying to pin a murder on him. I said, what? He said, yeah, he said something about Money Mike. I said, I ain't got nothing to do with Luce Cannon.
Yeah, who's Money Mike?
This dude got unalive, right? I said, that has nothing to do with Luce Cannon. Why would Big U do that, right? She said, I don't know, but he says you may have access to a video that can help him show it wasn't him, right? I said, I think I know somebody that may have that video. Let me make a call, right? So I make the call. I get the video. I'm not thinking nothing of it. I sent it over to her, right? Because in my head, I'm like, damn, that's fucked up. Big U finna like pin something on this dude that ain't him.
See, but Wack know what he doing too, right? First of all, I don't want to talk to anybody that's in any type of federal custody doing anything. Don't call me asking for no video that could be used as evidence. Don't do none of that, right? And then not only that, Wack, let me tell you, Wack is a smart man. Even with this whole little situation that he got right now with Adam, when he's talking about it, he know exactly what he's doing, right? But what I'm saying is, him sending them that video, he knew, like, potentially they might be trying to use this so he can get out. Let me see what he's gonna do with this. So now I have knowledge that maybe Luce Cannon is potentially thinking about cooperating.
So 2-3 days go by, I ask her, I said, hey, did they try to pin the murder on Luce? And I said, well, how did Big U tell him this? She says, well, they was down there to get their blood drawn and ran into each other. And Big U said, that's why I'm gonna put Money Mike's body on you, right? So I'm like, that don't even make sense.
No. No. Let me tell y'all right now, first and foremost, if you are caught up in a situation like that, for one, you're not just gonna tell somebody that you're snitching on, because you're giving them knowledge and awareness that you're potentially going to snitch, and they can mess it up and say, well, no, he did this, or whatever the case may be. Nobody's going to just come out of nowhere and say, oh, I'm going to put a body on you. What? Then not to mention, if you messing with the feds or just police, period, you can't speak on a case like that, because that messes up whatever they got going on. And they let you know, do not tell anybody. Do not tell the suspects, the victim. Don't tell anybody, because you might mess our investigation up. So do I think Big U came out of nowhere and said, oh, well, you know, I'm putting a body on you just like that? No. No, it doesn't make sense. And not to mention, how does these guys keep running into each other? I know when you got co-defendants or anything of that nature, they try their hardest to keep you away from each other. How do these guys keep running into each other? It's crazy.
So 2-3 days go by, another 2-3 days. I said, yo, did they charge him with it? And she says, no, not yet. And then after that, I started to hear, I'm about to get out. That's where the red flag was waved. I'm like, you about to get out?
So you're suggesting...
Hey, bro, when it comes to the feds, it's only one thing make a move. Bodies.
Right.
Right? It's the only thing make a move.
Well, they pursue other crimes as well.
No.
Not much.
You're talking about, you want to get out, it's bodies. So now...
Okay, never heard, yeah.
Look. That's the video. You can press it if you want to. You'll see what's on it. Yeah, you gonna see it. It's gonna happen.
Looks like a carjacking.
No. Pay attention.
A murder.
It's unalive, right?
Yeah. Whoa.
Now this video, this ain't no motherfucking
That was this Mike guy.
yeah, that's Money Mike that got unalive, right? So this video been floating, right? So nobody in there is loose. So if you look, watch it, I'm gonna show you the word. So if you look at it, you're gonna read it. You'll read why I sent it. Go top on the bottom, I sent it.
All right, now before we continue, two things, right? One thing is what he's trying to say is Luce got nothing to do with that body, right? He's not in the video. He didn't do nothing. So he's like, why do you want the video in the first place, right? Because allegedly Big U said, well, I'm gonna put the body on you. But if you know you ain't do anything, why would you need that video in the first place? But then two, what Wack100 is trying to allege, or I guess suggest, is that maybe Luce is trying to give up intel on somebody losing their life so he can get out. And he's gonna put it on Big U, right? And the video would just be the hardcore evidence that he has. But another thing, right? So let's get into the text messages because they didn't show it here. However, shout out to Poetic Flacco, because the text messages that Wack is referring to right now, Flacco exposed it in his video. So when it comes to the text messages, Luce Cannon's wife, Sharice Mills, is the gray and Wack is the blue. And it would say, quote, "This is it. Okay, thank you. Makes no sense. That wasn't nobody from 60s that did that. I hope it's solid. Makes no sense." She said, "No idea. When he calls back, I'll call you. Unless old boy playing dirty, he knows who did it." And then she says, "Who?" He says, "Useless. I think that's what's going on." She said, "Oh, do you think he's trying to set up Cannon?" And then she put the hand over the face emoji. This just keeps getting worse and worse. Then she said, "If it comes down to it, are you willing to make a statement to vouch for that? I'm going to mention this to the attorney. Or if you can't, is there someone else that can? This is just so wild. Whoever did this and then it just went away." But basically, you see her saying, well, would you testify? How are you going to ask somebody like Wack to testify? You know, or anybody for that favor?
Right? You see, I'm like, I don't know why Big U would do him like that. Look at what she's telling me. She threw me off when she asked what I testify. Like, hold on, pump the brakes. I wasn't there for that. This video been floating. It ain't nothing exclusive.
But
Now, at least he had enough integrity to say he's not going to testify. And I say that because knowing that he don't like Big U, he could easily get together with Luce Cannon and they could just come up with some type of plot against Big U and have him in that situation where it's two people saying that you got involvement with whatever. Who you think they're going to believe? So him saying that he's not going to do that, that's kind of respectable on his end. And he clearly said, listen, I wasn't there. I can't testify on something I don't know nothing about. Right?
so you're not saying that Luce Cannon took care of this dude.
No.
You're saying that
Luce had nothing to do with that.
people are trying to put this on him.
No.
Big U specifically.
No, he said that.
Okay.
He had this girl call me a week or something ago and tell me, Wack, you look at it, you read?
Yeah, it's a little complicated, but
No, it ain't. Makes no sense. That wasn't nobody from 60s that did that. Our is solid. It makes no sense. That's what I'm saying. No idea. When he calls, I'll call you back. I said, unless old boy playing dirty, right? She said, who? I said, useless, because she telling me Big, Luce said Big U say he gonna put that on him, right? You see what she says?
yeah, she said this just keeps getting worse and worse.
Do you think he's trying to what?
Set up Cannon.
Right? I said, ain't no telling. And then she hits me with that whopper.
If it comes down to it, are you willing to make a statement to vouch for that? I'm going to mention this to the attorney. Or if you can, is there someone else that can? This is just so wild. Whoever did this in the video, did they ever get caught?
Right?
Crazy.
I tell her, from what my understanding is, it's an open case, a cold case. Right? So I'm sitting there saying, damn, that's fucked up. Why would dude put that on Luce? Like, now I'm concerned. I'm like, yeah, I went and made a couple calls. I said, yo, you remember that video that was floating around? They like, yeah, I got it. They sent it. I sent it over here to her. So after a couple days, 3-4 days go by, I'm like, yo, did they charge you? The exposures is on the thing, checking the system. Ain't no murder popping up. And then a couple days after that, he starts saying, I'm gonna be home soon. So now I'm scratching my head like, well, the judge denied your bond. In the court, they said they're about to bring other charges on top of what's denying your bond. She calls me and tells me, you said Big U trying to put this on you. Do you have that video? Can you get it for him? I get it. You see, she's sending it to the attorney. Okay, so now I'm like, okay, well, did they charge you with it? Did they charge you with it? No. So now only Big U would know if he has said, I'm gonna put this case on you, which doesn't make sense. It's going back to the lying shit that we used to hear, the manipulation, right? So now I gotta ask myself, why else would you want that video to that unsolved case?
And once again, he got the text messages. Maybe if he didn't have the text message, we wouldn't be able to say, well, no, the text message is right there. Right? And like he said, why would you want that video to an unsolved crime that had nothing to do with you? Why? And then out of nowhere, days after that, you say, well, I'll be home soon. Why are you that confident? You got no bail, no bond. They told you can't come out. Why are you that? And they telling you they got more charges. Why would they let you out if they about to bring up more charges on you? Something ain't right.
And then what would motivate you to start saying, although you don't have a court date, that you're about to get out?
So you think he might be working?
No, I'm just saying, it just, when you do the math, 600 is doing his due diligence because, again, I had to call around to find this. He just knew I could call around and find it. Shit ain't exclusive. It was floating when it happened. If I tell you, Adam, hey, bro, you got that whoop, they trying to hit me with a case. and you look up and see I never get the case, but I'm in a situation when I'm not supposed to be out, and I end up and I'm out, you're gonna scratch your head about that.
All right, we pretty much gonna end it there. It's a little more, but like I said, if y'all want, y'all could check it out for yourselves. Y'all know Wack, he's the master manipulator. He just asked him, so you trying to say that he's snitching? He's gonna say, no. That's exactly what you're saying. But that's the manipulation tactics that Wack and other manipulators do. They basically tell you something, but when you ask them, they're gonna say, I ain't say that. But what I am saying is, look into, you're basically saying that, right? And let me tell y'all this, what's interesting about this whole thing? Luce really doubted the power of the feds. He thought when he got picked up that it was just for a federal complaint. And I don't know why he thought it was just so simple like that, but one thing for sure, when it comes to them feds, they don't just come to pick you up for something petty. If anything, they'll wait. But when it comes to picking you up, they come with everything already ready in time that they want to give you. And after that, it's just on you to whether accept it or take it to trial. I told y'all that it would come to this, and for a few reasons. When they visited Adam 22 and Adam told y'all that he had to hand over some stuff, I told y'all pay attention to that because there's no telling what Adam handed over. Whether it's surveillance, audio, who knows what he gave him. Not only that, pay attention to what Adam said. He told us out his own mouth that the feds questioned him pertaining to Big U in the cease and desist, and it was also focusing on the unaliving of Nipsey Hussle. Now, why would they be focused on Nipsey? Well, according to the girl that Adam interviewed, who was also a part of the Rolling 60s at a point in time and cool with Big U, she said that it was rumors of them reopening the Nipsey Hussle case because of Big U's alleged involvement. So when you put all that together, and then you go back to where all this originated from, which was Luce Cannon getting on No Jumper and telling the world about Big U allegedly having involvement in Nipsey's demise, then apparently at some point the feds will make their way to Luce Cannon. Reason being, clearly he knows a lot and have information. He can't say he doesn't because he already is seen on his own platform and on No Jumper's platform spilling tea. Now, according to Wack100, it's not just the Nipsey stuff. He's on whatever wiretaps, speaking to a confidential informant about crimes, and he's implementing himself in it too. Right? So who knows what they have? And on top of that, Luce does have himself to blame. He did bad from the beginning anyway, because honestly, I feel no matter how much you fall out with someone, if y'all was cool, just because y'all not cool don't mean start spilling the tea, especially when the street business involved, right? Not only that, but you went from dissing Wack, then getting mad at Big U, switching sides to go diss Big U and be with Wack. That's crazy. Anyone that could diss someone they did crimes with and knew for years and then flipped on them, you can't trust. What makes you think that he wouldn't do the same thing to you? And I think that's the mind state that Wack100 had. And that's why he played it the way he did. Right? So this is, I don't know, it's a lot going on, man. But basically in a nutshell, Wack is a legend that, yeah, Luce Cannon may be cooperating. He asked for a video that he has nothing to do with. He didn't have a court date. He went to San Diego when everybody went to LA for whatever reason. Who knows? Right? This is just what Wack's saying. I guess we'll just have to wait and see what's going on. I'm pretty sure that Luce Cannon is going to respond pretty soon after this get out. Y'all jump in the comments. Let me know what y'all think about this. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Hit that bell so you're notified every time we drop new content. And remember, as long as you keep on watching, I'm going to keep on dropping. And I'm out.